Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Okay, so generally I don't like using ad hominem attacks. I don't like calling people names as a substitute for a political argument, at least not on this platform. In my private conversations in my private life, it's pretty much all I do. But if you're battling in the arena of ideas, you have to stick to the ideas. But even with that being said, sometimes name calling isn't just an ad hominem attack, but rather just the accurate assessment. And you probably get exactly where I'm going with this. The Kamala Harris campaign, frankly the Democrat Party at large, is stupid. Stupid. Dumbo. Dummy. Idiot. Have I made myself clear? And again, I'm not just saying this to be mean. It's not just a vicious, bigoted attack against a woman of color, which is probably what these types of characters would respond with. Sure, any criticism lobbed towards a person of color instantly is a form of bigotry, according to these freaking clowns. But of course, in the real world, that just simply isn't the case. And the facts remain that what they're proposing is stupid. It's idiotic. It makes no sense. They are running objectively dumb candidates promoting even dumber policy proposals. And don't take my word for it, even many mainstream media figures seem totally perplexed at what it is the Kamala Harris campaign is suggesting. I'm telling you, I'm not the only one who thinks this stuff is stupid. The talking heads seem to share the same opinion. Let me show you guys what I mean by that. Let's have a conversation about it. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so largely nowadays, the world of politics seems to be so involved in culture, cultural issues, but personally I'm more interested in the economics of it all. I know I spend a lot of time talking about culture, so maybe I'm a little bit of a hypocrite, but for the most part I'm just following the news cycle and following the crazy, really. When it comes to my own personal practices, I don't really watch Fox News, I don't really watch CNN, but I do watch their finance and business affiliates. Fox Business, or even CNBC. I'm more focused on fiscal policy. And let me just say the world of business and finance news, let's just say it's a very different world, a different landscape than your typical MSNBC, CNN political universe. You know, there's probably a reason Democrats don't show up on these shows too often.
Well, unrealized gains, taxing unrealized gains just doesn't seem fair in any sense of the word. In the very best sense, if you are taxing unrealized gains, all you're doing is pulling forward the taxes that would be paid later when someone actually sells the stock.
I think that this reaction to unrealized gains is a little funny, given that I bet that the majority of people watching right now are already paying a tax on unrealized gains. It's called a property tax.
Property tax.
When the value of your home goes up,
it's a use tax.
When the value of your home goes up, you pay higher taxes even if you don't sell your home.
Your value of your home never moves the way a stock moves, the way something else moves.
That's always the go-to answer.
It's also, property tax is a use tax. You're paying for the schools, you're paying for emergency services. Those are things that make absolute sense.
And sure, and all the revenue that comes in from these unrealized gains taxes and the other taxes in the Harris plan are going to go to creating what she calls more opportunity. It's to make sure that every newborn born in this country gets $6,000.
Using the services.
Well, look, you're arguing that this is some sort of foreign concept that's completely unknown in the U.S. tax code. It's
probably unconstitutional. It's probably, and it was never in anyone's intent to tax.
It's not an income tax,
and it's never going to happen. Probably. Not I'm not going to say my lifetime.
I wouldn't say that.
Not in Becky's lifetime.
Yeah, they probably avoid these shows like the frickin' plague, because the moment you get a Democrat to start talking about economic policy, that's where everything falls apart. And really, right there, that's the reason, at least for me, it's impossible to be a liberal. I'm not a cold-hearted, bad person. I care about people. I don't want to see people sick, poor, unable to take care of themselves. That's not the reason I'm a conservative. The reason I'm a conservative is because liberals pretend to care about the sick and the poor and the needy, but then they present these policy ideas that would literally make these people's lives worse. They present idiotic, economically illiterate nonsense. And that's exactly what this is. It's always a new tax grab. Oh, we're gonna solve everybody's problems with our latest tax grab. We're gonna take money from the rich. And this genius idea has to be the dumbest one I've heard yet. A tax on unrealized stock gains. I mean, that is a textbook example of misguided economic policies that can only do one thing, and that's severely backfire. I mean, let's break down what an unrealized stock gain actually is. this? We're essentially talking about paper profits here, the theoretical profit that investors have when the value of their stock goes up. And the key word here is unrealized. This means the investor hasn't actually sold their stock and cashed in on those gains. They're hypothetical profits that could disappear as quickly as they appeared if the market takes a downturn. And so you're probably asking the same question that I'm asking. Are the Democrats suggesting taxing someone for money that they didn't actually make? I mean, imagine being forced to pay taxes on the appreciated value of your home every year, even though you haven't sold it. And I know Democrats are going to say, well, isn't that what the argument was being made on the other side? No, they're talking about property taxes, completely different thing. I'm talking about the appreciation of your home. Imagine you're living in South Florida. You bought a home in 2016 and now it's 2024. And for the most part, I mean, home prices, at least visually from what I see a lot of the times, have essentially doubled. And frankly, I've seen some homes even triple. Imagine you bought a home for $500,000 and now it's worth $1.3 million. Well, what this proposal would do is hit you with a capital gains tax on the appreciation of your home while you're still living in it and haven't sold it. That's completely absurd. Could you imagine just living in your home and all of a sudden Kamala Harris knocks at your door and says, hey, the price of this home has gone up $700,000. You owe me a big frickin' check, mister. You would be shocked and appalled, and frankly, you'd probably call that person a criminal or an idiot and slam the door in their face. And so kind of an interesting thing here, I'm presenting this as a hypothetical, as an imaginary concept, but really it's kind of a metaphor for what's happening at large. I guess it's a microcosm view of this election, because that's exactly what's happening. Kamala Harris is saying, elect me so I can tax your stocks that have gone up due to all the money printing and inflation. I'm going to tax you on the theoretical gains that you've made. You bought Nvidia stock and made $100,000. Pay me taxes on those gains right now. Well, I haven't sold the stock. Well, you better sell it right now and pay me my taxes. I mean, for Pete's sakes, are the Democrats mafiosos? It's like a mafia shakedown. It feels like extortion. You haven't even sold the stock, but they want their payment. Completely idiotic policy. What happens if you pay the government on these unrealized gains and then your stock portfolio crashes? Well, in that case, I guess you're shit out of luck now, aren't you? Is the government going to then give you back your money in the next year? Are you then forced in a position where you have to write off those losses and try to, I don't know, get the money back from the government the next year? It makes no sense. It's stupid. It's economically illiterate. And it brings me back to what I was mentioning in the intro, based on how and why people vote, why on earth would anybody ever want to vote for somebody proposing something so economically illiterate? Why put this party in power? Why put somebody in charge of the most powerful economy on the planet if they don't even understand basic economic fundamentals, like the most basic stuff? It's just unreal. It's stupid and it's bad policy. Frankly, taxes as a whole are bad policy. Now, I'm not arguing for no taxes, but the situation that we're currently in, where you're always under threat of more taxes and more compounding taxes and increasing taxes, it's just a bad situation to be in. Why on earth would we be taking money away from productive people and corporations and giving it to the greedy government so they can take that money and provide 1/100th of the value that a private corporation would? The compounding effect of taxes does one thing and one thing alone. It hurts productivity and hurts regular people. It's really that simple. Tax the big corporations. You can say that all you want, but the moment it starts happening, all of a sudden people are losing jobs. There's less investment. There's less money circulating between willing participants in voluntary transactions. Oh, I wonder why the cost of everything is going up. I wonder why it's so hard to start a business and find a job or get an increase in salary. Well, have you ever given it a thought that the same dollar is taxed like 7 different times along its ride through the supply chain? Tax upon tax upon tax. The companies are taxed, people's salaries are taxed, there's sales taxes, in Democrat states there's gas taxes, and then of course you work through all of it to hold as many pennies in your own pocket as possible, and then when you die, everything you saved for your family, well, that's taxed also. And by the way, Kamala Harris's stance on that issue is very clear. Play the part where she's talking about increasing corporate taxes and estate taxes. It's bad policy, it's counterproductive, and yet here we are dealing with these leftoids who just want to keep taxing you even more with more compounding taxes into economic oblivion. Their ideas are so bad and so stupid.
So these are some of the ways, but we've got to increase the corporate tax rate. We also have to increase taxes for the top 1%. And that part of that is going to be about repealing that tax bill they just passed. And also looking at estate taxes are going to have to go up.
It's bad policy, it's counterproductive, and yet here we are dealing with these leftoids who just want to keep taxing you even more with more compounding taxes into economic oblivion. Their ideas are so bad and so stupid that even the talking heads at CNBC are freaking face-palming. And that right there tells you all that you need to know. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.